This is Morning Stock Watch for 24 January 2020 weekly report for SPY, Netflix, AMD, and GRUB. Starting with SPY. Weekly closing price 328.77, down 0.95%. Up to Friday, the daily trend has been on a steady bullish uptrend riding along the top of, but not closing below Tinkinson, the thick green line. This Friday, the market loosens its belt a little bit by making a double top and gapping down intraday to end Friday's session below Tinkinson, but we're not too sure if it's getting completely undressed for bed at the moment for a full-on market reversal. Hints of a possible correction are clear as the week ends as a thick body red spinning top as shown. This candle shows indecision in the market as price gets closer to 340. Also, on RSI, we have a second peak of some pretty solid overbought negative divergence to go along with our red spinning top near 340 resistance. Looking at the market sectors and ETFs of SPY, QQQ, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, SMH, IWM, XLF, XLC, and the VIX. Just simply looking at the weekly candles in comparison with SPY, QQQ and NASDAQ in particular have both very obvious red topping candles. NASDAQ itself is at a high overbought level on the week, 7930 RSI, with a solid number of 9,300 appearing to be some psychological resistance. So where does the market go from here? With most of the charts and indicators pointing to the downside, as it has been for a while now, but this time we're seeing this bearish momentum take effect. 4 to 5% drop is possible down to the center fib level at 317 or the retest of the Tinkinson at 320. We watch for further developments if levels are made. These moves are most probable, but we could see some sideways action. Now for Netflix. On the 21st after hours, Netflix had better than expected earnings, which initially brought in a good bit of noise that brought price down to a support cluster, with fib levels and moving averages where buyers stepped in to create a 11% move up to 359.85. Netflix continues to appear it is filling a gap up to about 372, maybe as high as 385 from the original price of 315. On the 5-minute chart, we do see a bit of hidden divergence that could create more upside for Netflix on Monday after an attempt to break 360 and then 363. And next on the list is AMD. Weekly closing price 50.35. This week AMD made it to the top of the mountain and now it needs to come down. The mountain being the top of the green channel with overbought divergence on RSI, influenced even more by the bearish tone of the stock market and the fact that earnings for AMD is on Tuesday. Depending on the earnings, we could possibly have a break in the channel to the upside, but things actually appear more bearish and would be beneficial for AMD to revisit some prices from below. A mediocre earnings along with the bearish divergence could set AMD for a drop and break below the channel support back to the $45 range. And lastly and quickly, we have GRUB. We started watching GRUB last quarter during their earnings miss, bringing their price down to the weekly floor of 32.11. GRUB was previously already in a downtrend, but now we can see price finally took back most of that large breakdown candle, but it hasn't taken it out completely. But it's probably waiting on earnings, which just happens to be on the 3rd of February, so this should be interesting.